have places to go. You have goals to achieve. Not waste time aimlessly. This was etched in my heart during my childhood. I was raised by my grandmother, Amma. Amma means mother in Kannada. She always told me, you have places to go. Yes, I had places to go. Travel means many things to many people. It could be for business, it could be for leisure, it could be to escape from life's boredom. It was much more than all of this. I traveled to discover myself, to know who I really am. Traveling can get you out of that comfort zone and make you realize how resilient you are. I know I might sound a little dramatic. I'm a person that gets easily bored of routine. I can get easily bored of things around me, exceptions of course. I figured out that traveling was one such exception. By traveling, I not only accept the change, but I induce the change voluntarily. And that's when I decided to set my heels on the wheels. When I decided to travel on my own, I was only 23 years old. This was a big decision in my life. This big decision of my life was for many reasons. Major one being that obsession to explore. I always had a sheltered life, always with the love, care, and comfort with the family, like most of us here. I was already married, and I was having a decent, wonderful career, in fact. Yes, at the age of 23, I was already having a decent practice with my partner, husband, architect. My clients had started to invest their faith in me and my ideas because my designs were being built as buildings. So leaving all this behind and moving 7,000 kilometers away to an unknown land was indeed something crazy. I knew I would come across the separation anxiety, the fear of learning new language, making new friends when I'm a borderline asocial, and then to study in a language that I had absolutely no knowledge about. These reasons were more than enough to raise many questions, doubts, suggestions, and even criticism from family and friends. But my husband was always there standing next to me, supporting me and my ideas, and more importantly, he assured me that I was in the right direction. I remember someone telling me when I was applying for my passport, "Why do you need a passport? You're a girl." But passion, you see, it makes you do things. It makes you answerable to none. And to me, passion does not have restrictions. It does not have to be limited to one interest or one field only. One can be passionate about multiple things. One can be into a profession and still be passionate about other aspects, not really related to their career. I'm an architect. I am passionate about dance, photography, fitness, travel, languages, and so on. When I moved to France, there was this first big challenge waiting to welcome me, the language. It was shocking for me to know that there was a country where English did not work. That is how naive I was. I barely knew anything in English. Few sentences that I first explored were, "I'm an Indian, I'm an architect, I'm a vegetarian." I quickly had to move from my absurd comical sign language to a level where I could defend my doctorate. I took 1 full year to learn French and to be able to communicate with people. Learning that language helped me in understanding the people, and more importantly, helped in understanding the culture in a better way. This also helped me in understanding other similar languages and their culture. I now make sure to learn at least few basic words before I travel to a new country. Most recently, when we were in Bulgaria, I think I might have impressed my guide and my local host when we said "Na zdrave," which means cheers in Bulgarian. Apparently, that's one of the most important words in Bulgaria. These little things, I understood that it brings you more closer to the people, allows you to understand their culture and their people and cultures. Cultures are so different from one part of the world to another. It can vary from within the country. And it is a fascinating fact to know how different we are from each other, culturally speaking. I was very surprised when I discovered the way of life and different culture in other countries. One of the major culture shocks to me was la bise, cheek-to-cheek French greeting. It took me a while to understand that this was the everyday part of life. Like any conservative Indian, repulsion was my natural reaction. Because of this, I know I might have even offended a few, but gradually I learned that this had to be accepted and this had to be accommodated. Another aspect was that I was equally surprised by the people who were surprised by me, of me being vegetarian. I couldn't understand why the concept of vegetarian was so alien to them. Again, I gradually understood that these were simply because of cultural and religious preferences. While returning at my office, my first office in France, I was invited by my boss to her place. With a very motherly tone, she comes to me and she says, "Pourquoi tu manges pas de viande? Maintenant tu peux manger chez moi." That meant, "Why don't you eat meat? You can eat meat at my place." I couldn't really understand what was going on at that point, but later on, I was told that she actually thought that I was too poor to afford meat. I still had surprises. But the real stupefaction was when a fellow student comes to me holding a spoon, pointing towards it, and asking me if we had that in our country, followed by all other cutlery accessories, including a napkin. But it only made me wonder how ignorant he was. And I also wondered how only the downside of my country was being showcased to the rest of the world. These were all the experiences that drove me to explore, and my interest in learning only increased. Having a Schengen visa was great. I could be traveling with a single visa to around 15 different countries. Well, today it's much more than that actually. That means exposure to 15 different countries. I did everything in my capacity to make the most of my situation in Europe. Starting from traveling short distances in trams, long distances in trains, and sometimes even walking. My first long distance venturing out alone was within a few days since my arrival in France. It was to a small place called Fermini. It's only about 15 kilometers from my university town. But taking a train on my own, buying tickets from a non-English speaking person, and walking all the way up to the place from very little help from the passers-by actually opened the door to my confidence for more travel. That walk, the walk with the heavy overcoat, wrapped in woolen scarf and moderately high heels, only showed my determination and paved a path for my future long-distance walks, climbs, hikes, and travels. Sometimes criticism is a blessing, and life teaches you a lot of lessons. To keep your senses open, just to realize that, and make that move at the right time. There will of course be a lot of ups and downs, most unforeseen events. It happened to me too. But also remember, these things prepare you to the more stronger version of you. Every journey was an experience to treasure. Every travel has taught me different things and different lessons. One of my trips to Manila, Philippines, taught me to look at fear in another way. It was a very important lesson to me. I was a hydrophobic until last year. I was someone who feared even to walk by the beach, fearing someone would insist or pull me in the waters. I would be dressed in formal clothes and I wore shoes. But as I intently looked at my daughter one day, enjoying the pool all by herself, yearning for my presence in the pool changed me at that very instant. When I got back from my trip, the first thing I did was to enroll in swimming lessons and brave that step. Today, I can swim decently. Most importantly, I can enjoy with the company of my daughter and my family. I owe that to my daughter and my trip to Manila. First time in my life, I entered the waters of the ocean when I was in Vietnam. It was a beautiful beach near amazing cave, Halong Bay. It was an incredible experience to me, and I actually swam there. I am grateful to the decision that I made. Now I say, go ahead, embrace your fears. My trip to Manila taught me to look at the fear another way. My trip to Mongolia changed my life. I'm someone that is particular of how things should be. Some people call me OCD, some even call me nuts. Traveling to a place like Mongolia, where even basic amenities are so very basic, helped me to cope up with difficult conditions. It opened another dimension of my life. It allowed me to comprehend what a simple living was like. I understood this better when we visited a reindeer factory to know how a person could live with just a teepee and a few bags full of cowrie shells and another bag full of reindeer bones and something else related only to the animals. This is all he practically owned. He roamed with the animals. He slept around the animals. He also ate the same animals. He was so dependent on the animals. So practically, he lived for his animals. Another important experience was I learned to love horses. Not only love, but I learned to ride them. When we got back from Mongolia, when we had to do a 4-hour horse trek on a semi-wild horse to meet the family, I realized the power of that animal. Taking us through the river's muddy puddles, it made me wonder about the incredible strength it possessed at the same time, remaining so calm and assuring. Now I can ride a horse without fearing I'll be bitten or falling off. You know how we are all used to a certain way, or we are used to a certain way of doing things. Traveling in different parts of Asia gave me the first-hand experience with respect to this. Now, what do you think this is? If Laos has the open in the nature behind the bush practice, Japan has a wash-dry system with a complex system with buttons everywhere, including a background music playing while at your business. I am talking about toilets here. I was blown away when I saw their public toilet, the same way I saw when I saw the Mongolian toilets. Well, I soon realized I had to adapt to challenges, and this wouldn't have come to a person like me without having traveled. From Asia, I want to quickly take you to the land of ice. Did you know that Greenland is the biggest island on Earth with the least densely populated country, with only around 57,000 residents? Most of the inhabited places are found along the western coast of the country. A thick ice sheet covers the interior of the country. It was a magical experience when we landed in the airport of Kangerlussuaq. I am an animal lover, and to survive the cold, we had to wear the suits which were made of dogs, polar bear, and even seals too. I learned that day that survival comes above all, and few things have to be looked in a different way than we are used to. I couldn't refuse to wear the suits, for I had to survive the cold, and especially the dog sledding, which lasted approximately about an hour. The sleds are, it is pulled by Greenlandic dogs, which run and run and run and never get tired. I love the country so much that I got some preserved snowflakes in the slide. Traveling made me creative too. Not only is going to be your strong suit when you travel, but it also allows you to be more positive and happier in your life. Isn't it true that when a person is happier, his or her productivity is also improved? This holds good for me too. Whenever I return from any of my travels, I'm usually happier and I'm inspired by so many events, so many experiences encountered. I draw inspirations from many elements from my travel. After a short trip to China, I designed an outdoor shelter inspired by the Lantern Festival. I also see this opportunity to travel as a mutual exchange of cultures. I try and give the glimpse about our Indian culture and our lifestyle and our ways of doing things whenever possible. In this process, I realized that it is a beautiful feeling to talk about your country and bust some myths that are attached to it. So why wait? If you can prioritize travel, then pack now and get set go. Can we do it? When we have so many positive things coming from this avocation, what stops us from doing it? Is it the cost? Is it the family, marriage, children? Or are we too busy in life? Let me give you some tips. Let's talk about the cost. I know travel can be expensive, but not all destinations nor all the travels need not be planned extravagantly. Also, there are a lot of strategies that could be used in order to save the travel cost. Over a period of time, you can get few strategies from various websites and travel articles that could help you to travel in a better way. First is airlines. Air tickets can be expensive, but today we have so many low-cost airlines due to competition leading to competitive prices. It's true that airlines prices are as cheap now than ever in the past. Also try and practice brand loyalty. It's always better to travel with one airline to get benefits like upgradations, promotions, sales, etc. And as for the accommodations, there are a lot of options available today than in the past. Look for the promotions on their social media for hotel promotions and their sales. Many hotels run the social media promotions that gives you surprise gifts and goodies during the check-in time. How do you get this? During certain times of the year, few hotels post a certain password in their Twitter or Facebook accounts. At the time of your check-in, you could say that password and get surprise gifts like welcome drinks, free upgradation of the room, and a free meal, etc. And there are other several money savers with accommodation today. Today, we have so many options of shared accommodations that people are willing to share their part of their house or rent you for an interesting price. Now, if you're telling me I am married and have children, if you're a person that loves to travel with family, traveling with your family is the best gift that you can give to yourself. If you have an enthusiastic husband and an enthusiastic child, nothing should stop you from doing this. From a very young age, I have given my daughter all the positive feel about the travel. And she is up and ready, just like me, for all her travels. She is involved right from packing her bag, and she does a little research about the country's climate and weather before packing. At the same time, choosing different activities like pool, hiking, etc. She's there with me when I work on cost, clothes, visa, immigration, and things like that. As a woman, I want her to have all the possibilities and choices. And as a mother, I want her to make the right choices. Hence, I try and give her the best exposure possible. If my trip to Mexico with my brother was an opportunity of filling the missing years, my trip with my cousin to Sandakpur was a test to our endurance. Both the trips brought me more closer to them. You want to feel like an achiever? Then travel solo. Self-care isn't selfish. And the society has done a good job on conditioning us women to take on the nurturing role. Get off that feeling that you're doing something selfish. I traveled alone to many places. I was not dependent on anyone, and that was wonderful. Also remember, one trip will always lead to another, and that's a crucial experience while traveling solo. I stayed in a youth hostel, met people from different countries. I made friendship, which remains precious even today. This is important to remember that with any endeavor, there is always good and bad. Bad experiences can be lessons, and good ones as lifetime memories to cherish. Not all places are dangerous. At the same time, not all places are welcoming. Thanks to my parents, that my basic upbringing helped me in dealing with situations that demanded to act independently and take decisions boldly. Being a woman and doing unconventional things will always invite criticism. Be prepared to be judged. Even if you're giving your family 100%, you will always be judged then too. Someone will always be there to tell you, maybe your plate is full, to take a break. But what they fail to understand is that you're always on a break and they don't know you one bit. So stop delaying and quit feeling guilty. Pack light. Keep your accommodation to yourself, secure your cards and cash, and take a break from technology. And feel the freedom and enjoy. Is that you're too busy in life? Everybody deserves a break, right? If you cannot give time to yourself and take care of yourself, then nobody will take you seriously. Like I said in the beginning, it is important to remind yourself who you really are and rediscover yourself. So the next time when you find yourself giving excuses, just remember to put those heels on the wheels. Thank you.